In this course, we're going to look at the obligations you have when you want to display a for sale board or a to let board on any premises. The first thing you need to realise is you cannot display a board on any premises unless you have instructions to market that property. This requirement comes from the Town and Country Planning Regulations, which gives you an exemption from obtaining planning permission to display the board. And so you have that permission once you get instructions to market a property. There are a number of offences that exist if you haven't got instructions to market a property. The first thing is, if you display a board without that instruction, then the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading Regulations kicks in, and you can be prosecuted basically for flyboarding. And that means you put boards up where you haven't got instructions. That means you're trying to indicate to consumers that you've got instructions and that potentially you've got more instructions than you actually have. And so therefore, consumer protection regulations kick in and trading standards officers can take action against you. And there are a few agents every year that get prosecuted for flyboarding. So make sure you've got instructions to market. The second people that can enforce this legislation is the planning department. They can take action against you for breaching planning regulations. And again, there are a number of prosecutions that take place against agents for not having permission to display a board. So, first of all, you must accept liability for any boards that you do display, and you must explain that to your client, that you take responsibility for that. The Ombudsman says you must do that in their code of practice. If you're displaying boards on flats or apartments or buildings with multiple occupation, then you must identify on your board which property it is that you're actually marketing. Again, this is to ensure that the authorities are aware of which properties you're marketing and to avoid the flyboarding issue. You can't remove other agents' boards unless you get the other agent's permission and you notify the other agent that you've actually removed their board. The Town and Country Planning Control of Advertisements regulations control what you can do, and they say you can only put one board up at every property. There cannot be multiple boards. The board must be within the curtilage of the property. This means that it must be on the property itself. You can't put them on grass verges, on roundabouts, or on other premises like fields. This is totally illegal under the Town and Country Planning Regulations. You can't illuminate your board unless you apply for planning permission. And the board can remain in place for up to 14 days after the contract date. So if we're in a sales situation, that would be once completion of the transaction has taken place. For a letting situation, that would be 14 days after the tenant moves into the property. So what else can you do with these boards? Well, you're allowed to put an addition to the board once it's sold or once a letter's been agreed. And so you can put an addition to your board which says sold subject to contract or sale agreed. In a letting situation, it would be let agreed or let subject to contract. So therefore, straightforward, you can't add anything else to the board.